you doing? My name is Juan Eckert. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I came to Winston-Salem State in 1986, primarily for the marching band. I actually saw them at the Johnson C. Smith homecoming. I said, that's the school I want to go to. I had never seen a band like that in my life.
Hello, I'm Diana Glenn Estes. I marched in the Winston-Salem State Marching Band from 1979 to 1984. And for me, marching band was everything. It helped me to build confidence. It kept me in great physical shape at the time. It taught me discipline. And I was introduced to some very special lifelong friends.
They called all the kids down to the auditorium and said that they introduced Mr. Tanner. At the time, he was Mr. Tanner at the time. He said he wanted to do a music test on all of us. I said, I don't mind doing the music test. Let's find out what's going on here, get me out of class. So I took the music test, and then Dr. Tanner came back a couple of days later, maybe a week later, and called me out of class again and said, Adolphus, you scored the highest score, you and Henry scored the highest score out of all of the students on the music test. I said, really? He said, yeah. And he started me on the violin, and I started playing the violin. And that was my first introduction to Dr. Tanner.
Yeah, Dr. Tanner was the best, man. I mean, getting to know him. I mean, that stack of Downbeat magazines he had in his office was second to none. And I've been reading Downbeat ever since then.
Dr. T, but he was heavyweight, man.
Fred showed me through the travels that we did as a stage band. It was the first time I went out of state and out of the country playing music is with Winston-Salem State University. And Fred was a big part of that. And I saw he and Mr. Shepard, how they coordinated things, but, being on the road, being out of the country and listening to them talk to people, talk to the audiences that we played for. We played for the military. It was all professional.
What I do remember, though, I never seen the bus. I'll never forget that, man. Out of all the dreams of feeling like a rock star, how do you get to college in a marching band and feel like you just went double platinum? Them buses backed up, and we practiced backing up, single file, bowing, backing up. I ain't never seen I was 18 years old, man.
Yeah. Because, they taught me a lot of stuff that wasn't in the books.
Yeah.
Tanner would sit down and just, and just have a conversation.
Life stuff.
Yeah. Dr. T, he is one hell of an arranger. Can play his butt off, even though I couldn't get him to do a gig with me.
I was Tanner's last crew.
Okay.
And he had already retired. And I'll tell you what, he had already retired. A lot of the, my advisors and everybody was like, well, who's teaching that class? Well, they brought Dr. Tanner back. And they're like, you better listen to every word he says. You don't know who you're dealing with.
Fred, Dr. Tanner, man, it was, we played gigs together, but he was still, the guy. He never, we had a couple of brush ups and, but I learned in the classroom from him, but I also learned probably the most I learned was in playing with him and asking him about arranging, because I started trying to do arrangements, and I would listen to how he voiced things, for the marching band, and he wrote a couple of jazz band charts as well.
Fred is an amazing human being, an amazing talent, and he's an amazing teacher, band director.
The band came down the hill, the WSSU, the major regiment. You couldn't see the band because the houses there. When they came past the houses, the majorettes, boy, they was looking good and stiffing. The Harold Trumpet, Brother Joe Daniels, he was with the Harold Trumpet inside. Kevin and the band came down. Then I looked, man, it was about 10 fools. They were zigzagging down the street.
Well, I first met Fred Tanner when I was in the 9th grade. He was my first actual band director.
And this is at what school?
At Kennedy, the first year Kennedy Elementary, Kennedy Junior High opened up.
Yeah, man. And what grade were you in?
I was 9th grader.
Okay.
Yeah, just learned it. I had the passion for drums, but he really took me and showed me how to actually read music, and taught me a lot.
And Mr. Tanner gave me the flute, said, here, try to play this. And I took it home, I think, and I tried playing, and I got drunk, or kind of got, I didn't know what drunk was, but I got dizzy. I couldn't play the flute.
But he took the time to connect with us on a personal level. He fostered an environment where we felt where we were valued and supported. This empathy created a safe place for us to express ourselves, take risks, and grow, not just as musicians, but also as individuals.
Dr. Tanner had a couple of Ford Thunderbirds or T-Birds. One of them was a Batmobile style. It had I think it was Batmobile style, but it had those suicide doors.
Meeting Dr. Tanner was different. My first thing was I had only read printed music. I had not seen handwritten music. So first of all, I had to learn the man's handwriting. First of all, I had to ask Jerry, is all the music like this? Is this how? He said, yeah, this how it is. I said, okay, let me stop marking.
My talent is talent. Right? So we were rehearsing in the band room. And it was a surprise, talent just showed up. And y'all act like it was the Messiah that had walked on water, right?
I didn't even know what Fred played when I first started playing. I didn't know he was a trumpet player. I think he played a little piano at the time. Anyway, he was a great pianist, and he could play trumpet. So I used to sit down, listen to him play, and listen to his stories about, I think Fred lived in New York, and he did some work in New York as a player, as an arranger. And I was listening to all that stuff. And
Hobart was in the band. So it was me in the rhythm section, me, Hobart, Ronnie Eller. Yeah, he was the drummer. Stowe was the conga player.
Okay.
Fred was playing keys. Come on. I mean, it was amazing.
Dr. Tanner speaks German. He told the guy, he spoke to him in German. And the guy spoke back to him, and he stopped and took us to a restaurant. I will never forget that.
They asked us to do the show again, but they didn't know Jerry Allen tore his horn up after the halftime show. So,
we were doing the Russian gigs.
Yeah, Jerry's horn breaking too.
The band came down like that, so I fell into the block. But you know who our savior always was? Buddy Taylor. You go to Buddy T, you get the tape and put it back together.
Dr. Tanner, I would be there if it wasn't for the Easter weekend. If I had not gone to Winston-Salem State University and studied with you, even though, Joe is sitting here, I would watch all of you while you're doing the improvising, I remember you were coaxing me to play this one solo in the jazz ensemble. I feel like I've finally looked at what I thought about everything you've all done for me, and it's finally hitting home.
And so I was intrigued, to hook back up with him and to see how professional he was, and not just as a teacher, but he was a professional musician with arrangements and working with different people.
So many things you left your mark on me that I wasn't even aware. So I'm so grateful for you as my teacher, my mentor, and my role model. I want you to know that when I was doing my graduate work at Teachers College, Columbia, and my first job was working in the stacks in the library. And as grueling as that job was, it was comforting to go among the dissertations, and I would see yours there. I would see Lee Bell's there, and Winston Bell's dissertation as well. So that just made me say, okay, I'm in a good place.
He was a person that showed humility with playing. It wasn't about just cracking the whip. You know, his humor, he had the thing, he had that smile, and you know. So I got all that too. It's the personality and that vibe that comes with playing and just. But he was amazing, man.
My name is Broderick Pender. I marched in the band at Carver High School with Mr. Emory Jones as my band director, and I marched in Southern State with Mr. Emory Jones. First heard about Mr. Jones, I was in the 6th grade band at Middle Springs Middle School with Charles Burns as my band teacher. And when I heard about Mr. Jones, I made it a life goal to march in that band. Didn't realize everything that was involved with being a part of that band. I started off on alto sax, 9th and 10th grade. Then 11th and 12th grade, I switched to sousaphone and tuba in the marching band and the concert band. I got to Winston-Salem State. My scholarship was on sousaphone, but I was an alto saxophone major, so that was a conflict of interest.
There's something that Winston-Salem State has always had. We always had heart. We had a lot of heart and a lot of spirit. And we went out there to Grambling, and there was just like, it was like a battle of the bands that we had out there. And Grambling, they come out here 200 something, and you know, they sound great, you know, but I'm gonna tell you, Mr. J, he had a sixth sense where he knew exactly what to call to play to get that crowd eating out of the palm of his And Mr. J, the playlist that he did, he was like, look, we gonna play this, we gonna play that. And in that crowd, he was like, no. Change it. He could feel the crowd. He's like, we playing this, we playing that. And the crowd went crazy. Even though Grambling was bigger, our little 50, 75, no more than 100 people, we had that crowd eating out of the palm of our I can't even talk, eating out of the palm of our hands.
And Emory Jones now. I met Emory way back in the day when he came up here from East Spencer, North Carolina.
Oh my goodness. So I met Mr. Jones in August of 1991 at Carver High School during band camp. I was the flute player, and I had the privilege and the honor to be one of his students my freshman, my sophomore, and my junior year of high school. He left our senior year to go to Winston-Salem State to become the band director at his beloved alma mater, which is now my beloved alma mater. And senior day, he came back and he got 10 to 15 of us, gave us all marching band scholarships to come to Winston-Salem State and be part of the glorious, amazing, and wonderful Red Sea of Sound.
I'm just glad to be a part of it. They brought me in, just the marching band brought me into Winston-Salem. And I'm here now, still teaching at Carver High School, just because I saw them that one game.
We go to San Diego, California for the Gold Coast Classic.
Okay.
We get all the way through the parade performances, football game, get to the airport, and miss the plane. Never will forget the look on Jones' face. We get to the country, we were the band from Winston-Salem State. I saw his face go blank. We done missed the plane.
Mr. Jones was more than a teacher or professor. He was like a second father to all of us. It's amazing how you can have a group of 100 to 300 students and know them all by their first name. Yeah, I mean, what did they say? If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you got to get there early. I can remember having to do push-ups with my legs crossed in the back because I was tardy. I was on time.
I'm just gonna say this: it was great to be a part of both of their lives, both of them to be a part of my life. Let me put it like that. Those are some great influencers. They're I know that kids tell me that I've touched some lives with stuff I'm doing, but that's because of them. So I can only imagine all the lives they touched, all the people they've influenced, and not just music majors. You know that goes for everybody. So.